All right, everyone, some fairly large news, which is that Paris has exploded into numerous protests and riots to the point where people are burning cars and erecting barricades. Apparently what this is over is fuel taxes. That is, fuel costs are high in France. They had been creeping upward for a while anyway, despite the fact that crude oil prices remained very low. Here they're beginning to fall, which is really great because, we're getting on towards the Christmas season. People have to buy, oil-heated homes. They need, their refill for the winter. They're going to save, a lot of money on that. There's a big difference. Oh, you should see the oil bill and the difference between, back when it was 120 something a barrel and then when it dropped down to what, 50, 55 a barrel. Oh, the difference was definitely quite imposing, quite a large difference. You're talking many hundreds of dollars, upwards of 1,000 over the season, depending on how much you're heating your home, how efficient the system is, how large it is, and so forth, and what company you're using at some point. But I'm not surprised, because they're trying to impose additional fuel taxes here too, and people largely are unreceptive. Like, they want to do a mileage tax. It's basically a fuel tax anyway. It's just a different way of saying it. You get a certain number of miles per gallon. It's basically a fuel tax. It's just applied to the actual mileage on the vehicle. But it's the same fucking thing. It has the exact same ratio of effect. It's a fuel tax. Now, over in France, apparently people are putting... They've got these little, reflective yellow vests on, during these protests. Like, I guess there's a law over there. You have to carry one of these in your car for, in case you get, a flat tire or, or a fender bender. On the side of it, you have to wear one of these so people don't hit you, I guess. Even during the day, I guess, which is really weird, because, I can probably see you if it's broad daylight. If it's in the night, you probably should have, a reflective vest on. It's funny, here we use, you would have road flares, typically. Not a lot of people actually carry them, although they probably should. Carry a fucking couple miniature traffic cones or something, just to let people know, hey, I'm on the side of the 65-mile-an-hour zone with a flat tire. I'm gonna have to be on the driver's side fixing it. Maybe I should have something there to warn people that I'm actually in existence. But Paris is burning. Burning cars. Maybe they'll start burning men, throwing shit at the police. Apparently they were firing fireworks at them, so the police tear gassed them. And we're talking about crowds of thousands of people. We're not talking about 10 people stood on the corner and said, the price is too damn high. The rent is too damn high. No, apparently, more significant than that. Some people now calling for Emmanuel Macron to be ousted. Now, here's the thing. Normally, a protest of a few thousand people in a city the size of Paris isn't going to be imposing enough to convince Macron or anyone else to step down. But isn't his approval 20%? People talk about Trump has low approval here. Dude, his approval is almost 45%. That's way more than most European leaders. Macron, it's 20 or 25. Merkel, I think, is below that. I think hers is in the teens. She's got Dilma Rousseff level fucking approval at this point. She still refuses to step down early. She's just saying, yeah, I won't run for chancellor again. I won't run for Führer again. Don't worry about it. Somebody else can run the European empire as it slowly collapses into the dustbin of history because we Western Europeans keep fucking mismanaging it at Brussels. I'd be protesting too. Winter's coming. You got older people, maybe oil heating and stuff. You want to be able to drive to the Champs-Elysees or to your favorite wine shop and then go down and get your loaf of bread, your baguette or whatever. And you can't do that anymore. You can only go to one or the other because fuel is too expensive. It's there's not so much of a car culture in Paris, I'm sure, as here in a U.S. city anyway. Our cities are, remarkably different. But seriously, Macron really should step down with approval that low. You should have voted for Le Pen. See, I told you should vote for Le Pen. She'd have higher approval. She wouldn't have imposed such a tax, probably. She's on the left fiscally, too. Macron arguably is further right on some economic issues, just, he's, less Eurosceptic. Yeah, he's a Eurosceptic to the extent that he wants more power over it than Merkel. That is, that France wants to be a slightly more than equal partner, just as Merkel's people want to be slightly more than equal partners, which is why the EU will never work, because you have a bipolar alliance. Technically tripolar. The UK got so pissed they quit. Although they didn't really quit. Not till 2020. And in 2020, I guarantee, as negotiations continue, if they never trigger a hard Brexit, there's no significant reform movement by Nigel Farage or whatever, they'll just say, oh yeah, we'll put it off till 2030. Oh yeah, then they'll say 2040. At some point, they'll hold a second referendum and they'll try to undo Brexit. You watch. That's my prediction. It's funny to see people protesting Jupiter, though. Didn't Macron refer to himself in Napoleonic style terms, like basically labeling himself a god and shit like that? And it's funny because he's got a very complex relationship with our leader, with Trump too. That is, they can shake hands, and they sort of go toe to toe, and they have almost a similar egotistical attitude. But then once they're no longer physically in proximity, they badmouth each other. It's sort of like with Trump and Trudeau. I think is this some sort of pan-French sort of thing? Because Trudeau's Quebecois, right? I think he's from Quebec. I'm not 100% sure. I mean, I've never bothered to research him because he's not one of the great world leaders. Not exactly leading a great power. No offense to Canadians. Maple syrup's quite good. Bacon's quite good. I'm sure that those, what is it, Timbits or whatever, probably very tasty. But, you know, all things considered, Tim Hortons does not a major power make. Unless you intend to send drugged coffee over to your enemies and assassinate them. You know, make sure to drink the Dunkin' Donuts stuff, Donald, because Trudeau's looking angrier by the day. Paris is burning right now. I know, it's not really that funny because people can get hurt. Apparently, like 36 people were arrested yesterday, and it'll grow. What happens in these protests is that they tend to grow until the central problem is taken care of. The problem is, what's he going to do? Rescind the oil tax and say, okay, well, you know, fuck the balanced budget. We'll just have some more deficit. Yeah, fuck this sort of shit. We're just going to have no taxes and revert to anarchism. It's not going to work. But Macron really is a turd anyway. Like, and look at what he's doing in the Middle East. Like, still running, I think, bombing campaigns against the forces that can actually take care of ISIS, like France has been doing for a couple of years. I think we shouldn't be involved in that either. I wonder why the fuel prices are high. Could it be you're disrupting the supply locally? Yeah, it's possible. Could it be the fact that a lot of the refining systems of the world are, like, you know, not fully profitable because of the low oil price anyway? So some of them get shut down, throttling the supply. By the way, in related news, Venezuela, speaking of oil, their tanker fleet, so many of their captains and the deckhands and shit have said fuck it and fled the country that they can't even ship a lot of the oil that they do extract. So the extraction is down significantly. Because the rigs are leaking, poorly maintained, some are shut down, non-profitable. Then they can't even ship what they've got, and it's the shitty kind of oil. Like, that's only profitable at $100 a barrel or some crazy amount like that. Very, very funny. So yeah, be safe over in Paris, because Macron is, you know, making your nation miserable as usual. That's about all. Peace out.